Well, hello there. This is Shahara Wooten with Your Story Financial. Welcome to another episode of the Money Decision Show. I am so excited to share with you what we have today. You're going to get a look into how I present, and I did an online presentation in April, which was National Financial Literacy Month, April 2019. And it's a presentation that's pretty popular in my business called Level Up Your Financial Story. So I'm super excited to share this with you in multiple parts. So it'll be a series. It'll be either 2 to 3 to 4 different parts. It just depends on how I should break it up. But you are going to get access to what we talk about. Please make sure that if you have any questions that you leave it in the comment section. And at this point, why don't you go ahead and like this video? It'll get out to more people that way. And also be a subscriber if you aren't already. I really appreciate all my subscribers. Thank you so much. And I'm looking forward to sharing more content. So here you go. Level up your financial story.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me for Career Strategy Saturday. And if you're catching this on a replay, it's a joke because today is actually Monday. We're ending the month of April, which is Financial Literacy Month, talking about leveling up your financial story with financial advisor Shahara Wooten, who used to be an engineer. So it is so interesting to have somebody who understands so not only what it's like to be a woman of color, but to be one in STEM as an engineer specifically. So Shahara, will you introduce yourself and let everybody know more about you?
Okay, yes. Thank you so much, Michelle. I am super excited to be sharing what I'm going to share today. Just to kind of go over a little bit about myself so that I can just move on to the information that you guys want to hear. I am a fee-only fiduciary firm, Your Story Financial. I started it back in 2016. I'm super excited because I'm able to provide unbiased financial advice to my clients as a registered investment advisor. I am a fiduciary, so that's really a big part of that. And just a little bit of background. I am, as Michelle said, I'm an electrical and computer engineer by training. I went to the Ohio State University, and I got my degree a ways back. So, you know, I'm not going to share that part. But we're going to move right into level up your financial story. I think it's really important for all of us to take a proactive role in our financial story. And we can do that. We can change the narrative. There was a day that we all became aware of, at least a lot of us did, and it was called Equal Pay Day. And it was on April 2nd, and that was a national day that was used to recognize that women do not get paid equally to men. And April 2nd was the date that all women, if they just average everyone, that they have equal pay to a non-Hispanic white male in 20 that got paid December 31st, 2018. So it's a very interesting fact, and it's one of those things that we can take ownership of and change the narrative so that we don't have to live life from those particular statistics. We can actually overcome all of those odds. So we'll get right into it. I'm going to play a little bit of a fact or fiction. So I would love for your participation. You can put it in the chat bar. There is a chat where you can type in fact or fiction after I share this. So according to equalpaydaytoday.org, all women make 80 cents in comparison to non-Hispanic white men. And then Black or African American women make 61 cents in comparison to non-Hispanic white men. So is all of this fact, or is some of it fiction? So I'll give you guys a few moments to provide your answers. And then Michelle, if you can share with us what people are saying. Okay, I see some answers rolling in. Oh, I see some comments. That's what I saw. Okay, well, I guess we'll make it a rhetorical question. So let me move on to the next slide and let's just see if what you thought was right. Okay, so it is indeed, oh goodness. Wait a second, I don't know what's going on. Okay, there we go. It is indeed fact. So we already said, if you kind of listened in the beginning, that women make 80 cents in comparison, all women make 80 cents in comparison to non-Hispanic white men, but Black and African American women, they make 61 cents in comparison to non-Hispanic white men. The numbers are even more staggering for Latino women, for Native women. Latino women, they actually don't have their equal pay day until November. So November 2019 coming up is when they will have an equal pay day. So you can see that these facts are astounding. The next factor fiction is between 1983 and 2016, white families' wealth grew by $1,000 per year, Latino families grew by $66 per year, and Black families grew by $83 per year. So I'm curious what your thoughts are, fact or fiction? And you can just type F-A-C-T or F-I-C-T, whichever you think is right. So I'm just curious. All right, so just to let you know, between 1983 and 2016, white families grew by $1,000 per year and Latino families grew by $66 per year. However, Black families lost $83 per year. So I'm reading your comment, Michelle. They didn't know they would have a quiz today. I know, right? So I love participation. I'm just used to speaking where we all participate. So it just gives me an opportunity. But can you believe that Black families lost $83 per year? And that came from fastcompany.com article. It's called The Racial Wealth Gap is Worse Than It Was 35 Years Ago. So again, we are going to talk about changing that narrative and really honing in on what it is we can do to bridge that gap and those gaps in general. So I'll talk about creating SMARTY goals. I'll tell you what that all means because I created a new acronym. I enhanced an acronym. Also, we'll talk about cash flow assets or concepts, and then we're going to talk about building assets over liabilities, earning interest over paying interest as well. Now, what is a goal? Let's go right into it. I have a great definition, and it's probably right in line with what you're thinking. A goal is an observable and measurable end result having one or more objectives to be achieved within a more or less fixed time frame. So according to Business Dictionary. Most of the times when I give this presentation, people are right on it with what they believe the definition of a goal is. So hopefully that was right in line with what you're thinking. Now, writing your goals, that's something that I'm really big on. It's going to give you some vision, focus, clarity, and a roadmap. We all love roadmaps. So since this is a sort of a workshop, I would love for everybody to take a moment to write down a financial goal. And just for the sake of time and the fact that we might not have been ready to share all this information, I won't have you share it, but I would love for you to just take a moment to write a financial goal down. So let's just give you guys like 30 seconds. When I think of what people typically write, they typically write that they want to be debt free. They're like, I want to pay off my student loans. I want to buy a house. I want to retire yesterday. That's what some people say. I want to, or more realistically, I want to retire today. Or well, that's not realistic, but I want to retire in 20 years. Or I want to have multiple streams of income. I want to take a trip. These are various goals that people have. These are various financial goals. So some of these goals might have fell right in line with where you're at. So what I'm going to talk about is how do we make the goal SMART? So think about what you wrote down, and then we're going to take it through this acronym. And I've changed it a little bit because if you've heard of SMART goals, you probably are familiar with this acronym. And then I just added something to it to call it the SMARTY goals. So the S, for those who haven't been familiar with it, the S stands for specific. The M stands for measurable. So when we're talking about SMART goals, when it comes to financial goals, we are talking about being very specific about your goals, being very specific about what you desire to achieve. And when we talk about measurable goals, we want you to be able to put a number, a dollar amount to that when we're talking about SMARTY financial goals. So the A stands for attainable. And when I dug a little bit deeper just to find other words for attainable, the one that stuck out to me was winnable. So making sure that your goal is attainable, which equates to being winnable. It's going to give you that encouragement to keep moving forward and keep progressing. And also in line with that is being realistic, being relevant. We want to make sure that this is something that you can achieve, and it's a part of your desires. Time bound, well, a part of that definition that I gave earlier, it said a fixed time frame. So you really want to make sure that you put a date to it. And then lastly, the why, it stands for why do you want to achieve this goal? And that's what I've added, because I believe that knowing your why is going to be that anchor. It's going to be that motivator to keep you moving towards the goal. So your why could be, I want to have an emergency fund because I believe in security. I don't want to use my credit cards. I don't want to go into debt to really help myself get out of an emergency. One of the things I will say is emergencies will happen. It's not, it's not if, it's when. So for those of us who don't have an emergency fund, look at your why. Look at your why and how you can really take control again of the narrative that what we've talked about. So what I want everybody to do is take a moment and just revisit that goal that you just wrote down and make it a SMARTY goal. So let's do an example, because this way you'll get an idea of really what we want to do. So this particular goal is someone who wants to save $3,000, and they want to save it in a little bit less than a year. So I plan to have $3,000 saved by April 25th, 2020. So if you wrote down your goal, was it that specific? Was it that measurable? Did it have a date? Now we can take it even deeper and really put some more action items to it. And you can make it say, I am saving $250 a month to reach my goal of having $3,000 in savings by April 25th, 2020 for my emergency fund, because I like to feel secure. Those are ways to really make your goal a SMARTY goal. One of the things that I will say too is that time bound is expanded. So some of you guys may have picked a short-term goal. And a short-term goal is something that's between 0 to 5 years. And then some of you may have picked a midterm goal. Those will be goals between 5 to 15 years. And then your long-term goal would be a goal that you would utilize that is for 15 plus years. So I do have a course that's out there online, and it's at your own pace. It's a no-cost course, and basically it's called Don't Put All Your Money in One Pot. I will provide the link towards the end, but that is really going to help you understand what's the difference between a short goal, a short-term, midterm, or long-term goal. So let's make your financial goal a SMARTY goal. Hopefully you've already been writing it down. So take a moment to write down that SMARTY goal.